Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Lynn Nesbitt, and I'm chairing today's panel. Joining me on the panel are Bill Moretsky and Cindy Stevens. Our assessor is Catherine Mendoza, and our administrative personnel is Sally Caulfield. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 2 and 3 on our docket today. Ms. Caulfield, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony.
Please stand. Please state your full name.
Catherine Mendoza.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you.
Thank you. There is no applicant for the first property on the docket.
Okay. We'll put item number 2. This is 575 Stradbrook Avenue, Unit 204, to the bottom of the docket. And we will begin then with item number 3, 200 Tuxedo Avenue, Unit 905.
Please state your full name.
Antoine Francois Acco.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are about to give at this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's begin with item number 3. This is file number 25-135, 200 Tuxedo Ave, Unit 905. Ms. Mendoza, you may begin with your evidence, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Before I present to you comparable sales for today's item, I would like to let the Board know that there was a request for inspection letter.
Ms. Mendoza, before we begin, could you please read in the roll number, the address?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I apologize.
That's okay.
The roll number is 10003302-300. The address is 905 at 200 Tuxedo Avenue.
Thank you.
Before I describe the property today, I would like to mention to the Board that there was a request for inspection letters sent to the representative of the applicant. However, it was not acknowledged. Okay. I will describe now the characteristics of the subject property. The subject property is located in 200 Tuxedo in the neighborhood of Edgeland, 613 NC8. The building style is an apartment style building. The year built and effective year built is 1974. It is located on the 9th floor of a 17th story building. The living area is 1,590 square feet, has 2 bedrooms. It is located in an interior location. Has 1 full bathroom, has 1 half bath and a shower, has central air conditioning, has in-suite laundry, has 1 indoor parking, and has a view feature of the parking. Sorry. The assessment for this property is 319,000 with a total assessment per square foot of $200.63 per square foot. I'm presenting to you today 4 comparable sales that are located adjacent to the subject property at 200 Tuxedo, which is in the same building as the subject property for comparable number 1. Comparable number 2 and 3 are at 180 Tuxedo, and comparable number 4 is at 160 Tuxedo. The year built for comparable number 1 is 1974, while the effective year built is 1984, has an identical living area as the subject property. Sorry, I'm just gonna provide a range for the living areas of the comparable sales. Comparable sales have a living area ranging between 1,580 to 1,620 square feet. All comparable sales also have 2 bedrooms. Comparable 1 has an interior location, while comparables 2, 3, and 4 have corner locations. All have central air conditioning. Comparable 1 has a fireplace. All comparable sales have in-suite laundry. Comparable number 1 does not have any additional balcony or sunroom. Comparable number 2 has a sunroom and a balcony. Comparable number 3 has an open balcony. And I would like to mention comparable 4, please disregard the sunroom as there is no sunroom, only an open balcony. Sorry. Comparable 1 has had renovations, as you can see the difference between the effective year built and the original year built of the property. It has had bathrooms, flooring, renovations. And like I mentioned, I didn't indicate an additional sunroom because the sunroom is heated and it's included in the living area, total living area of the property. Comparable number 2 is built in 1988 and has an effective year built of 1998. So that means there has some renovations done to the property of the kitchen, bathrooms, and also the sunroom is heated and is included in the total square footage of the property. Comparable number 3 is has had no renovations. That's why the year built and effective year built are both identical at 1988. Comparable number 4 is built in 1984 and an effective year built of 1984 as well, meaning it has had no renovations. The sale price ranges of these comparable sales between 365,000 to 420,000. The sale price per square foot ranges between $231.60 to $265.82 per square foot. The time adjusted sale price ranges between 365,400 to 439,200. The time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges between $231.85 to $272.97 per square foot. In my evidence that I provided to the board, I've included renovation permits for the subject property with a declared construction value of $150,000, as well as electrical permit work for $5,000 of declared construction value. And due to the renovation permits and based on the comparable sales that I have provided today, I am recommending to the board on maintaining the assessment value at $319,000 to better reflect the market value change of April 1st, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mendoza. Mr. Hako, do you have questions for Ms. Mendoza?
Just a couple. Although you've mentioned a time adjustment, you haven't presented how you arrived at your time adjustment, correct?
Yes, correct. These are basically from our system. So it's a
Okay.
mass appraisal system.
Okay.
The computer generates time adjusted sale prices.
Were you aware that the published, and I didn't think this was going to be in dispute, so I didn't bring it, members of the board, the published mass appraisal analysis for this effective year indicated that condo prices had actually gone down in 2023 compared to any sales in 2021 and 22.
Yes, I am aware of that.
Okay. Those are all my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Moretsky, questions?
Yes, you have the permit for the renovations for the subject property included with your evidence, correct?
Yes.
So were those renovations completed?
Based on the Amanda data, yes, it has been completed with, I highlighted that on the main permits. I believe it would be the second page. Third page after the inspection letter. I highlighted the final inspection date was May 16, 2025.
Okay, and you have the effective year built being the same 1974 as the year built. So would the renovations have not changed the effective year built?
At the moment, because I have not personally inspected the property, we will be providing a supplementary assessment if the value is confirmed for today.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stevens.
My questions have been asked and answered, so I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Just a clarification question. You indicated the renovations have been completed and that those renovations are reflected in your assessment or no?
No, they are not reflected as I have not personally inspected the property.
Okay.
Better for us to inspect, and we will be providing a supplementary assessment.
I see. And at that time, the depending on what is determined through your inspection, that will then change the effective age.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. But because you haven't inspected yet, these renovations are not yet reflected in the property values. Correct? That's what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I just wanted a clarification too, Madam Chair. Can you just repeat the date that you said that it appeared the renovations were completed?
Based on the permit information, it's completed. The final date is May 16, 2025.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I'm looking at your comparables then. One of them is within the building itself.
Yes.
Would that be considered your best comparable, or which one is considered your best comparable?
I would consider, yes, comparable number one as the best comparable. Also adjusting for the because right now the property has no reflection of the renovations. I would consider comparable one as the best comparable based on my actions.
And that one has had renovations.
This has a little bit of renovations to bathroom and the flooring.
Bathroom and flooring, and that was all, right?
Yes, that was all.
Okay, and it has a fireplace compared to the,
To the subject property.
compared to the subject, sorry, yeah. Okay. All right, and I also note it's your newest sale from February 2022.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Mr. Hako?
Yes, thank you. Firstly, I'd like to address, I'm not too sure about the letter of notice of inspection that I don't know if that got caught by the postal strike, but I don't have it on my file. I haven't received it. It was sent to the agent. So apologize that I can't address that because it hadn't been received by my office for some reason. The
Perhaps the assessor then can get a proper or a different address for you or direct it to a certain person?
we have no problem with the inspection. I just wanted to address that it wasn't that we were avoiding it. It's just that I haven't received it. That's what I wanted to communicate. With respect to the permits for rentals, my understanding is it's if you look at them, they're framing, so it's not really a rental, it's restructuring the interior of the unit. So it wouldn't be like you're redoing an entire kitchen, which is, you know, like a $30,000 or $40,000 item, or, you know, doing granite countertops, things like that. So I just want to address that. Just because there's reconfiguration inside a unit doesn't mean that it's a rental. If the rooms are required to be adjusted for the occupants. The points I want to make from my material are two things. The assessor has agreed that their mass appraisal actually showed a reduction from 21 and 2022. That's inconsistent with what she provided in her evidence that the amount should actually increase. And the end, if I go to my tab 1 of the materials I provided, that is firstly, I know the assessment information is not relevant, but I had put handwritten notes with respect to the assessment and or the property itself. It confirmed, as Ms. Mendoza did, that there's one parking stall, one locker. And the one thing she didn't address is that if the monthly fees of the condo are insufficient, there's capital assessments. And those capital assessments started in 2023. They would have advised the owners in 2023 of the upcoming capital adjustments. Those things affect how units get sold because they know that they're going to have to fork out another $5,000 over and above their condo fees. I'm unfortunately and acutely aware of that. My unit in Ashdown had a pretty significant capital assessment for windows, even though we had fairly high condo fees, it being an older building. So that affects how the market looks at these units. I have provided the listing for 905 and the it describes the unit, and it's a more up-to-date listing because it was although we can't consider the actual sale price, which I've put at tab 1, I acknowledge that the sale price which occurred in 2025. This is the listing of the property as it stood when it was put on for sale in 2025. And you'll notice that there is no kitchen upgrades, there's no flooring upgrades, so nothing like new kitchen cupboards. There is indicated a bathroom upgrade. So that's the state of the unit when it was purchased in 2025. The I was trying to address the issue of the acknowledgement of the assessor that prices had a downward trend in 2023, leading up to the effective date in April of 2023. And that is the reason why I put the 102 unit, which ended up being the most recent sale in that particular condo complex. It's of a smaller unit, I acknowledge that. It's a 1-bedroom unit. It's only 1,144 square feet as opposed to the 1,500 or so. So usually smaller units garner more per square foot than the larger units. I've put there the actual sale price in January 9 of 2023 was $184,900 at $161 per square foot. This the subject property is at $200 a square foot. So there's about a 20% difference. At my next tab 4 was the internet details of that listing. Unfortunately, I apologize that the underlying information I didn't have for the board, but we've now provided it to the board. The underlying information should be in front of you. It's the full MLS listing as opposed to the internet summary. And it also describes this unit. So the more important things is that the unit, as we can see from the listing, which was provided on the internet, but the city, they had indicated the city appraised it at 227. That would have been the assessment. It was listed on this public listing that was shown on the internet at $199,900. It did not sell for that price. It actually sold for less, as we've indicated in our tab 3 at $184,900. So it didn't sell at the $200,000 range. But what the full listing provides more insight on is if you go to the very top of the listing, I don't know if it's available to all the members of the panel, top right, it indicates the original price of $279,000. So somebody was of the view when this property started to be listed in 2022 that they could sell it for $279,000. They had to reduce the price because the market was changing to $199,000. And it ultimately did not even sell for the $199,000. So you can see the original price that it was listed for in 2022 was $279,000. And it actually sold for nearly $100,000 less by 2023. So the reason I bring this to the board's attention is it's difficult when there's a changing market to, especially if we can't go post April 1. If we could look at post April 1, we know what further happened in the reduction in the market. But I can't present that evidence to you. Unfortunately, the most I can present to you is historical, right? Because we're trying to do what would this property have sold on April 1, the subject property. And when it's a changing market going down, sometimes the evidence in a particular building, it's challenging because if you didn't have enough sales, and this is the best sale to kind of indicate what was happening in the market in that building, an older building, a 1974 building. So that's what, unfortunately, we're left with. We're left with the general mass analysis by the city that condo prices were going down. The best evidence that I could pull up on the change in that market and what was happening in the market as it relates to this older condo is this particular sale. So where does that leave you? In a certain sense, it's, from my perspective, kind of inadequate information. But it does support, my submission and also the mass appraisal, analysis, that there was a reducing amount in the price. As regards the comparables, I agree, that probably the best comparable that the assessor has provided is the number one comparable. It's in the same building. It has had, in my view, more renovations that are relevant. If you change a wall location and that's structural framing, that's one of the permits. In my view. And sorry, I didn't introduce myself, not that it matters much, but I enjoy this area. I don't appear in front of this board that often. I appear more in front of the municipal board and the Land Value Appraisal Commission, but I do have an honorary ACI designation. So, and I have edited books for Sauder School of Business in this area. So it's an area that interests me a lot. So if I'm looking at the comparable number one, how do I reconcile that with the assessment and whether or not it's appropriate? We have it's a February 2022 sale, so it's a full year before 2023. And what I've showed you, at least on the best evidence that I could get on a 2023 sale, is that people were listing properties at significantly higher in 2022 for this particular building, but they were not selling in late 2022 and early 2023. So that I would put less weight on that sale, even though it is a sale of a similar type, because of the date of the sale, and that it does not reflect the mass appraisal conclusion that prices were going down in 2023. And it also doesn't, it's inconsistent with the listing that I've provided to the board, where we saw the higher original listing, the reduced listing, and in fact then the sale, which was even lower than the reduced listing. So that addresses the time issue. The second issue, and this is always a hard thing to point an exact figure on, is when you have a unit that's got renos that are material to a sale price, not changing walls. But things, people look at kitchens, they look at bathrooms if they've been renoed. They'll look, do you have, what kind of countertops do you have? What kind of flooring do you have? Because these are significant expenses. Those things are material, all things, if it's in the same building, if I'm looking at one unit and I figure, well, I've got to put $50,000 of improvements to bring it up to what this 805 unit sale is, well, I'm going to adjust my purchase price accordingly. If it's an older unit and it's a 1974 building, I'll adjust my purchase price. There's been no kitchen work, no flooring work done to my knowledge. So then it becomes, well, we've got two things happening. The market's going down. Sure, we have an indicated number of 231. And we don't have the type of renos and upgrades in the unit that's the subject of the assessment. So I'll move on to comparables 2, 3, and 4. The assessors acknowledge that those we would put less weight on. They're newer buildings. They've got different attributes like sunrooms and balconies. They're not going to be great comparables just because of that. There's less weight should be put on them. Also, I think the most important part is that they're all 2021 sales, which is basically a year and a half before our effective date. Same problem, the market's going down in 2023. And these sales don't reflect that reduction in the market. I'll be back here next time if the assessment doesn't go down, because I'll then be able to present to you that the market value has gone down even further after 2023, April 1. So I think I've dealt with the points that I wanted to, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have of me.
Thank you, Mr. Hucko.
Sorry, the last thing is I'm recommending a reduction of 10% on the assessment. So down to $180 per square foot instead of $200 per square foot.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Mendoza, questions for Mr. Hucko?
Yes, I do. On your evidence, I believe this is tab 1 with regards to the special assessment.
Yes,
You noted $5,000 payable over 4 years.
right.
So that's $5,000 over the course, like each time of those dates that you've mentioned, October 2023, April 2024, October 2024, and April 2025.
No, it's the $5,000 this I got from the sale file
Okay,
in the condo disclosure. And it disclosed on the purchase, which was in 2025, there was still one more payment to be made. It was total of the 4 payments amounted, so it's $1,250 if my math is right, per assessment period.
okay. And was it indicated on the condo disclosure what kind of work or what kind of a special assessment was it entailing?
I should have brought it. I apologize. I didn't bring the file. It would be structural. It wouldn't be into the interior of the unit, because these assessments relate to the common area and the building itself as opposed to the interior of a condo.
Right. And you mentioned that you believe that the best comparable for the subject property would be on your tab 4, which is unit 102. In the same building at 200 Tuxedo at 1,144 square feet.
It's not a great comparable because it's a 1-bedroom, but the point of that comparable is more to show and illustrate the analysis of the mass appraisal, showing that what people were listing in 2022 and what things ultimately ended up selling for in 2023 with the downturning market, illustrating that. I would have preferred to have a 1,500 square foot unit sold in 2023. That would give me more assurance, and I would expect the board more assurance that, hey, Antoine, you're not comparing apples to apples here. We've got a 1-bedroom. Show to us that the 2-bedroom was also experiencing that kind of challenge in the market.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you very much. Ms. Stevens, do you have questions for Mr. Hucko?
Yes, thank you. So have you been inside this unit?
No, I haven't been since the renos, or we called them renos, but the restructuring of the walls was done. It's a unit owned by one of the people at TDS. So I've talked to him, and it's my understanding from speaking to him that they were not, I'm gonna say renovations like to a kitchen or countertops or flooring. It was rearranging the interior walls of this unit.
So if the condo market is in a downturn, I'm just wondering why someone would spend that much money to rearrange walls rather than improve the possible, like, as you're saying, what they've done is not going to increase the value of the unit. If you're in a downturn in the market, why would you do those kind of renovations rather than something that's going to increase your price point?
Well, for this owner, the configuration, he's an older person. And the configuration of the walls and the separations in the unit didn't really work for him and his wife, who are both fairly elderly. So having paid the price he did, and unfortunately I can't tell you that because, well, in the context of what you're asking, I could say he paid $160 a square foot for that unit. Well, that allows him to say, okay, I can go into this 1,500 square foot unit. I can reconfigure it so that it works for somebody my age. At his age, he's not doing it with the view of it's going to increase my market value. He paid a low enough price. He paid 20% below what the assessment is. And that allows him to say, well, listen, I can buy this unit at the price I paid, reconfigure walls so that it works for me and my wife in our retirement and elderly years.
Is it, so you haven't seen inside, but in your opinion, you don't believe that these renovations have added to the value of the property?
Well, based on my experience, that's correct. Changing the walls to reconfigure for an elderly accommodation of this unit is not something every buyer in the market's going to want to pay more for, right? What people will pay more for, and there's analysis by MLS on, just like if you do a bathroom, you get 60% of your cost of the bathroom in the market. If you redo a major kitchen rental, you're getting anywhere from 40 to 60% back of your investment in the market. If you redo the floorings, depending what the state of the flooring is, that also will increase the value in the market. These are not the types of things that were done in this unit.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Mr. Moretsky, questions?
Yes, so how did you arrive at your requested assessment amount of $180 per square foot?
Well, I considered two things. Thank you for that question. Firstly, the state of the unit in the sense of what was renovated and not renovated. And I did put, so that was one factor. The other factor was that the best evidence that I had for this particular condo is illustrated in my tab number 4 of the reduction of purchase price. So I thought that but for the adjustment in time, that $200 per square foot was probably a reasonable difference between a renoed unit and this particular unit. And then in my mind, I had sufficient evidence of the change in price leading to the April 1, 2023 date to warrant a further adjustment of 10%, which is actually the amount per square foot that the one-bedroom unit sold for. But also when you look at the first listings that were occurring in 2022, nearly being $100,000, so more than the actual sale price. I don't know if that helps. That was my logic and my train of thought leading to, is it appropriate to do a further reduction for time, given that the first adjustment down to 200 would reflect an unrenovated with material market value of improvements then I did the further adjustment for time by 10%. It's still higher than what my guy paid for it, but at least I think it reflects the downward trend. I don't know if that helps answer the logic that I came.
Sure it does. Yes, it does. Thank you. You mentioned also that your comparison 102, unit 102, I think you mentioned it may not be a good comparison because it was only one bedroom. Is that correct?
It's not a great comparison. I would have liked to have a 1500. But in my experience, the smaller units sell more per square foot than the larger units. When I've done these valuations. So although it's not a great comparison, I think it's still a useful one, because even at $100, $180 per square foot, if you apply that to the smaller unit, you would normally expect it, if you're comparing it to a 2-bedroom unit, to come to an amount that's slightly higher per square foot than the 2-bedroom unit. And actually, I know assessments are not supposed to be considered. But if you look at tab 3, of my material, if you look at the difference for this one unit being assessed at 258, if I did the calculations at 258 compared to that actual sale price, and then if I did the same ratio for tab 1, which is the larger unit, they're assessing the smaller unit at a higher dollars per square foot than they are for the larger unit. And that's the mass appraisal results. So although it's not a great comparable, I think it's still a useful one, because the smaller units generally sell for a bit more per square foot. So if the smaller unit sold for $180 per square foot, you'd expect that the 2-bedroom unit with similar amenities would sell for something lower than that.
Does the 1-bedroom have 1.5 bathrooms or 2 bathrooms or just one?
Look at the listing. That's the best information I have on that.
I don't know. I can't really suss it out on here.
Yeah, the listing for 905 shows that it has an ensuite bathroom. That's at tab 2. And it also has a 3-piece bath, which is, I think, generally consistent with what you'd have in a 2-bedroom.
And a balcony as well. Does it have a balcony? If you don't know the answer, that's fine. That's okay.
Well, just looking at the listing for both of them, this building seems to be fairly consistent in its structure. If you look at the photographs. So I don't expect any difference between the 1-bedroom and the 2-bedroom as far as exterior living space. Perhaps the assessor has better information, but looking at the photographs of the listings, the structure of the building does not change as you go up the building.
I don't even see any balconies at all. So, but
Yeah.
it does say that they have. Well, not that block, not this block.
No, I don't think they do.
It doesn't have it. Probably doesn't
No.
have it.
No, I don't think it does. It's not like the other buildings. That's another reason why I haven't put any weight on those other comparables. They're really different buildings,
Right.
different. units.
Madam Chair, do you mind if I ask the assessor another question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Ms. Mendoza, if when you selected your comparables, would it not have been have some more value to get something more recent than the comparisons that you had? For example, the one that Mr. Hacko has presented here is 2023. Why is it that you didn't choose that one?
I believe because that is a smaller property and considering that the two other adjacent properties at 180 Tuxedo and 160 Tuxedo. These are also similar in terms of the build and as well as the amenities within the building itself. And that's why I've selected anything in those two buildings that are of similar square footage and are of similar type to the subject property.
And you had acknowledged earlier that the condo values did in fact go down in 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, based on the published information of the mass appraisal, yes, it has gone down.
But your comparables don't reflect that reduction, do they?
No, not for the 2021 and 2022. I believe on the published material, sometime in 2022, it did took a downturn, but not at February 2022. So if I had more recent comparable, that would I can't really remember the exact term on the published information. But it did took a downturn sometime in 2022, but not at February 2022.
So if you knew that, how come you didn't actually account for that in your assessment?
This is already reflective of that information based on the comparable sales that we have.
Yeah, but your comparable sales are pre-2023.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Your comparables are all pre-2023 before the condos went down. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's correct. However, I believe at 319,000 without the renovations, I believe that's already reflective of the current market. And even with that, the renovation permits would actually change that value anyhow.
Okay, thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank you very much. And I have no additional questions after that. Ms. Mendoza, would you like to make a summary statement on this property?
Yes, due to the renovation permits for the property, I still recommend to the board of maintaining the value of the subject property at 319,000 to better reflect April 1st of 2023.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Hacko, would you like to make a summary statement?
I'll only address that point. Rental permits, if they aren't with respect to material improvements that actually change market, don't have an effect on the market value. So just because there's been what they call rental permits, which is moving walls to accommodate these older people, that doesn't change the value.
Okay, thank you very much. That will conclude item number 3. Thank you, Mr. Hacko.
Thank you, members of the board. Thank you, Ms. Mendoza. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
Have a great day and a great balance of the week.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Ms. Caulfield, do we have applicant yet for item number 2?
No, we have not, and we've received no communication.
Okay, thank you. The panel will go in camera to determine if we will hear item number 2 without the applicant being present.
Thank you.
The panel has determined that we will hear item number 2 without the applicant being present. So item number 2 is file number 25-3115 575 Stradbrook Avenue, Unit 204. So Ms. Mendoza, if you could please take us through that property.
Yes. The roll number is 1203-172-2700. The address is Unit 204 at 575 Stradbrook Avenue, located in condo number 242 in the neighborhood of NCA 110 McMillan. The subject property is an apartment-style building built in 1988 with an effective year built of 2003. It is located in a corner location and on the second floor. The living area is 1,969 square feet, has 2 bedrooms, has 2 full bathrooms, and another extra shower stall. Has a central air conditioning, has 1 fireplace, has an in-suite laundry, has a sunroom, has 1 indoor and 1 outdoor parking, has a view feature of the back lane. Note that the effective year built is different from the original year built, meaning it has had renovations done to the flooring, bathroom, and kitchen. The assessment for the property is $457,000, with a total assessment per square foot of $240.02. I'm presenting to you today 4 comparable sales, all located in the same condo complex. So these are all also built in 1988 with an effective year built identical to the subject property at 2003, except for comparable 3 that has an effective year built of 2008. All are located in the corner location, and the locations of the unit vary between on the 1st floor, 2nd floor, and 3rd floor. The living area ranges between 1,510 square feet to 2,198 square feet. Comparable number 1 has 3 bedrooms, while comparables number 2, 3, and 4 have 2 bedrooms, same as the subject property. All have 2 bathrooms, while comparable number 1 has an extra half bathroom. And all comparables have extra shower stalls as well. All comparable sales have central air conditioning, have gas fireplaces, have in-suite laundry. Comparable number 1, as it's located on the 1st floor, it has a patio, while comparables 2, 3, and 4 have balconies. Comparable number 1 has 2 indoor parking, while comparables 2, 3, and 4 all have 1 outdoor and 1 indoor parking, same as the subject property. And like I mentioned, the effective year built is similar to the subject property at 2003, meaning it has had renovations done to the flooring, bathroom, and kitchen. However, for comparable 3, it has a little bit more extra renovations. The sale price ranges between $345,000 to $528,000. The sale price per square foot ranges between $228.81 to $277.78. The time adjusted sale price ranges between $363,800 to $515,900. And the time adjusted sale price per square foot ranges between $234.71 to $283.33. Based on the comparable sales that I have provided today, I'm recommending to the board to maintain the assessment at $457,000 to better reflect April 1st, 2023 market value. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moretsky, questions for the assessor?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stevens?
I have no questions either. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions either. So that will conclude item number 2 on our agenda. And with that, we have heard all items on our agenda today, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much, Ms. Mendoza, for your time today and your presentations.
Thank you so much.